You cannot give me one reason why, not one football-related reason why Aaron Glenn and the New York Jets shouldn't just go to Brady Cook the rest of the way. Justin Fields, Damian Woody said it at halftime. Justin Fields is not a starting NFL quarterback. I'm Glenn Norton with Jet Nation Radio and JetNation.com. Be sure to log into JetNation.com where you can register and become a part of what is the most active Jets message board on the web. Listen, I think we've all run out of words to describe this team, right? Terrible, embarrassing, deplorable, incompetent. Every week it's like, all right, what's the headline this week? Second week in a row, the New York Jets defense gave up 13 points and the team lost. Why did they lose? Because they don't have a starting NFL quarterback on their roster. Tyrod Taylor comes in. Offense, comes to life, if you want to call it that. Looks slightly less lost than it did under Justin Fields. And Tyrod Taylor, multiple underthrows on what would have been big plays. 2 interceptions. Listen, I'd rather that. Throw the ball down the field and get picked in the end zone. At least you're trying to score. Justin Fields. I said it during the game. You cannot tell me, I don't care how much you hated the Justin Fields signing. I don't care how little you thought of Justin Fields. There is nobody who thought Justin Fields would be this bad. This guy, over his last 6 quarters of NFL football in the year 2025, where every single rule is bent and twisted to favor the offense, has averaged over his past 6 quarters 6 passing yards per quarter. 6 over a 6-quarter stretch. Wow. Nobody. I don't care who you are. I took the most charitable, open-minded approach as possible with Justin Fields, even though I didn't think he was going to be good. I understood the logic. Okay, fine. He's got physical talent. He's never put it together. Maybe this team gets it out of him. The odds of that, the odds of the Jets getting the most out of a quarterback, when was the last time that happened? I knew it was a 1% chance. And that might be a little generous. But what a disaster. You can't. Brady Cook, I promise you, if you start Brady Cook, he will get you 6 yards a quarter through the air, okay? He'll get you 6 yards a quarter. That might be all he gets you. But at least he's a rookie with some upside. The whole Justin Fields upside thing, I think that's dead now. You hoped, you wanted. It's Aaron Glenn non-committal on who the starter will be moving forward. You got a bye week coming up. What, in 2 weeks? Switch Brady Cook. Go to Cook. How could it be worse? Glenn, Brady Cook might not be ready. Oh, dear me, they might not score a touchdown. Couldn't have that. Wouldn't want a quarterback in there who stalls the offense. Haven't scored a touchdown on the opening drive since week 1. Consecutive week. You know why I didn't make some money betting today? Because I'm a Jets fan. I'm scrolling through my bets. I'm going to put in, maybe Brees will score a touchdown and da-da-da. And then I look at the odds on no touchdowns for Jets offense. And it was like 17-2 or something like that odds. And I thought, there's some money to be made. And if I didn't like the Jets, that's where I'd be putting it. But I didn't. Instead, I put in a long shot bet that Arian Smith would score a touchdown. Why? Because Justin Fields said, it's time to push the ball down the field now. We haven't been throwing deep enough. We're gonna let it rip. Be aggressive. I counted one. I counted one deep ball. To Arian Smith that landed. It was within 50 feet. So, there's that. Incomplete. And then Tyrod Taylor tries to hit Arian Smith deep down the field. A little bit of an underthrow. DB gets his hands in there, bats it away. Wasn't really a drop for Arian Smith. But I think if he'd been more aggressive, attacked the football, he would have had a better shot. But not on him. I'm not putting it on him. Tanner Engstrand, why did we just soft bench Breece Hall for the whole second half? He was our only playmaker. Well, he came out earlier in the game with an injury. I'm guessing he was dinged up because there were some questions as to whether or not he was going to come back in the game. And he did, but I think he was probably a little bit gimpy from the injury. Folks. Hey, Quinnen Williams. Round of applause. Dude was all over the place today. Just trade that guy. He deserves it. Get him out of here. You're multiple years away from contending. Don't make Quinnen Williams wait to have another 2.5 losing seasons before he hits free agency and has a chance to sign with a team that might have a winning record. Do this guy a favor. He deserves so much better. Breece, same thing. I mean, you're going nowhere. You can't. You're lost as an organization. You got a bunch of rookie coaches, almost an entire staff of rookie coaches. Many of them coaching out of position. I mean, you could make the case that Charles London has been a quarterback's coach in the past, but he was a running back who was a running back's coach, and then at some point switched over to quarterback where he's never developed a single quarterback, and you brought him in to develop a quarterback, and what do you know? It's not working. The offensive line had some good days early in the season. They've been up and down. The inconsistent, I guess, would be. It's tough, though, to pin it on the O-line because the number of times they're giving time to make a play and a play doesn't get made. Armand Membu had some really rough reps today. Fashanu had a couple of rough reps today. John Simpson, what's going on with him? Remember when the Jets signed him? And the knock was, oh, my God. The Jets just got rid of a guy who committed 1 million penalties and replaced him with in Laken Tomlinson. And they replaced him with a guy who gets 1 million penalties. And then last year, John Simpson was fantastic. What do you have, 3 today? Regressing to the norm, is this the term I'm looking for John Simpson? And I like Simpson a lot as a player. I have no problem having him back if they re-sign him. Again, I don't know why anybody would re-sign here, ever. This is the type of team right now that you only come to if you have no other offers anywhere else. It's that bad. I can't foresee a win on the schedule, but I also don't see and look, I said during the week, I said several times during excuse me. Pardon me. I said several times during the week, like, let's see Quentin Skinner, That doesn't matter, though. Sitting here twisting ourselves in knots about what they can do, where they can make changes. You don't have a quarterback. You do not have an NFL quarterback on your roster. Tyrod Taylor, one thing he's always been good at is throwing a deep ball. What can he not do today? Throw the deep ball. Underthrows, like that. That's one of the things that made him dangerous. David says trade both Quincy and Quinnen. Yeah, I would look. I've talked about it on my show, talked about it in a couple different places. Makes sense. Quincy's on the final year of his deal. Let him go. Quinnen's got 2.5 years left. All the guy's done is lose since getting to the NFL. He deserves better. Move him on. Get some picks. Hope you get it right. And look, I know this team sucks right now, but Darren Muji, I mean, people are talking about, look, he made a lot of bad mistakes in the offseason. Letting Devontae go without attempting a renegotiation, which is some assumption on my part, but there was no reports, no stories of the Jets showing any interest in Devontae Adams coming back. He had 3 touchdowns today, by the way. So you let Devontae Adams go. You didn't do anything to replace, you had to come into the season with guys like Jay Tufeli on your D line. He's dinged up today again as well. It's, I messaged a couple of friends of mine during the game, and I know we've all said it, right? It's like, how does this team manage to keep getting worse? Every time there's a regime change, you're like, well, man, at least we've put that behind us. At least it can only get better from here, right? My goodness, thank God we moved on from this guy. Oh, Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan, he had a 3-year playoff drought. That's unacceptable. Well, at least he's gone. It can't get any worse. Oh, look here. Now John Idzik's here. He's going to save the day. The name, is there any point in sitting here and going through the names? We know the names. We always think this guy can't be worse than the last guy. And here we sit, 0-7 for the first time in team history. Back-to-back losses. I mean, that's reminiscent of the Rex days, isn't it? Defense gives up 13 points and loses. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Let's take a look at the numbers. This will be fun. Excuse me. Worked all night the last 6 nights. Short nap in the day. Should have slept longer. So now I'm yawning like a moron who didn't sleep enough, basically. Because that's what I am. All right. Getting into the numbers. Tyrod Taylor came in relief of Justin Fields. Fields was 6 of 12 for 46 yards. That's after throwing for -10 last week. Net yards, of course. Let's see. Brees. Real quick in the chat, Dan saying they were 0-13 against her. I'm talking about from a starting point, from a head coach, GM. They've never had someone start 0-7 as the head coach. That's what's a first for this team, 0-7. Tyrod Taylor, 10 of 22 in relief of Justin Fields, 2 interceptions on a couple of underthrow. Well, one was an underthrow, one was just a poorly placed ball. Justin Fields, 6 for 12, 46 yards. That gives him 36 yards passing over his past 6 quarters, which is just over 6 yards per attempt. Congratulations, Justin Fields. Brees Hall, 11 for 38. Justin Fields, 4 for 22. Tyrod Taylor, 3 for 11. Isaiah Davis, I really thought he had more than 2 carries. 2 for 10. 2 for 10. Tyler Johnson, leading receiver, 3 for 60. He had a big 35-yarder. One of Tyrod Taylor's one of his decent plays on the day, scrambled, rolled out to his left, and hit Tyler Johnson wide open down the sideline. Mason Taylor, 3 for 31. Josh Reynolds, 3 for 29. Isaiah Davis, 2 for 22. Lazard, 2 for 16. Brees, 2 for 14. Arian Smith, 1 for 0. Jeremy Ruckert, nothing. No catches. Defensively, Jets had a couple of sacks. Jamie Sherwood picked one up, as did Juwan Briggs. Might be the best move Darren Muji has made since coming on board. Juwan Briggs has been very good. 10 tackle day for Jamie Sherwood. Guess what? No turnovers forced by the defense, guys. For those of you who may have been wondering, if your curiosity got the best of you, Glenn, how many interceptions did the Jets have today? Aaron Glenn said turnovers come in bunches, and they had one last week, so they must have had a bunch today. No bunches. Not even one. In the chat, real quick, Martin says, unfortunately, the franchise is rotten with negativity and awful decision makers from the very top, and it filters all the way down. What's the plan? Who's actually going to come and say anything apart from Glenn? No one's going to say anything. Aaron Glenn will go up there and take the bullets every week. And it's a good point, Martin, because really there's so much dysfunction, confusion, disorganization within this organization. Would anyone doubt that Woody is going to start getting involved if he hasn't already? Man. Crazy. Dan had a good idea today. Dan says, you know what? I went for a walk today here in the chat. Credit to you. Frankly, I went for a walk. That may have been a better idea for everyone. Everyone who tuned into that monstrosity of a football game. Damian Woody. I mean, I do like Damian Woody. He doesn't pull any punches. He said at the half. said Justin Fields is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. You have to bench him at halftime. So Aaron Glenn did. After the game, Aaron Glenn, not a lot to say. Proud of his guys. They fought hard. He feels like they're going to fight all season. Nobody's going to point fingers. Was non-committal on who the quarterback would be. He didn't say that if it is Tyrod Taylor next week, he doesn't feel that means he can't go back to Justin Fields. I never understood that mindset. Oh, once you bench a guy, see, you can never bring him back. Why? Like, if you did it and it didn't have the desired result, you can go, all right, let's give him another shot. You saw it with the Panthers with Bryce Young. Vic in the chat says, man, F the head coach, OC, and the DC. Well, I mean, let's be fair, Vic. 2 weeks in a row, the defense gave up 13 points. Let's show a little love there. The OC, not a lot to work with, and as no all 22 yet, but last week there were open guys. There have been many times this year where there are open guys and Fields isn't seeing them. Steven says, I stared at the wall where my TV was mounted and had more fun watching that than the Jets. Just turn the TV off and stare at it for 3 hours. You'll be less aggravated. David says, you got to fire AG if we go 0-17. It's just going to depend on how they get there, David. It's going to depend on how they get to 0-17. If it's like this every week, then I can't argue it. But if we see some, I hate that Aaron Glenn keeps referencing that Detroit team. Oh, and Detroit this and Detroit that. Okay, but this isn't Detroit. I remember those teams, and I remember watching and thinking, man, that team is close. Like, they were losing a bunch of games, and like buzzer beater field goals, time expires field goals, and just so many heartbreakers. I feel like they had a stretch where like 3 weeks in a row they lost on a last-second field goal, and you're like, man, they're right there. That team is so close to they like flip it in, and they did. Do you watch this Jets team and say, oh, they're so close? To what, relegation? I mean, come on. It's a joke. Vic says, I'm a fan since 81 when my cousin was a special teamer. The worst team I ever watched on TV this year. They're terrible. Absolutely terrible. It's, like I said, you run out of words. You run out of what to say. How many different ways can you describe? Like, can you have a win just so we can have a week where we don't have to come up with a new term to describe the embarrassing, putrid, horrid, disgusting, incompetent. Every week we got to come up with new ways to describe how bad this team is. It's so embarrassing. My goodness. Tell you what, Aaron Glenn might not be the only coach in the AFC East on the way out. I don't know what the final score was in that Dolphins game. And look, I mean, the Jets are 0-7. They lost to the Dolphins. I'm not here making fun of the Dolphins. I mean, I'm glad they suck too. Because the only thing worse than being bad as the Jets is like being bad while the Dolphins are good. But they were down like 31-6. I think that's Mike McDaniel's last game. We'll see. We'll see. Who cares about the Dolphins, right? Well, I just don't want them to be good. Aaron Glenn, is he? This is so frustrating. This is so aggravating. This football team. Every regime. Oh, it can't get worse. It's got to get better now. You can't be worse than Robert Saleh. Can't be worse than, the boring, mundane, closing the season out with a million straight losses. Eric Mangini, no personality, getting blown out in the playoffs. Can't get worse than Adam Gase. I mean, I thought that was the floor. I thought Adam Gase was the floor. I mean, this season isn't over yet. You win a couple games. Let's not even think about that. And the worst part, listen, if you've been a fan of this team for multiple decades, like 3+, 2+, probably not, obviously the longer you go back, the more reference you have. But my goodness. For anyone sitting around right now, any Jets fan, I don't know how people are looking at like, oh, which quarterback are we going to get? Do you really think that's going to matter? I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't get a quarterback. I'm not saying that shouldn't be the focus. I'm just saying, do you really think it's going to work? Tell me who on this staff is going to be responsible for developing a quarterback? I mean, you know what? I will say this. Let me take a step back from the over the top negativity there. The one saving grace, the one good thing might be if a qualified, proven offensive mind is out there who you contact. If you have that number one pick, and I mean no disrespect to Charles London, but if there's a QB coach or an offensive coordinator, again, no disrespect to Tanner Engstrand, but if there's someone out there who has done it before and proven they can do it, and you say to that guy, we will let you have maybe not final. That's got to be the GM. You know what? Screw it. Final. You're the QB guy. You pick him. We're gonna let you. We have the number one overall pick. You have developed quarterbacks in the past. You get to sit down and look at all these guys, and you pick them. Now, listen. If the guy wants to pick a dude that you have rated as like a fourth rounder, then there's a conversation. But if you say, hey, look, here's the three guys, here's the four guys we would be comfortable with at pick number one, you choose. That could have some pull. That could have some weight. Because, coaches, coordinators, they all want to succeed. And it's not every day you get an opportunity to have your pick of the litter of the entire college quarterback class. So maybe, having that first pick and offering it up to a coordinator to say it's essentially your pick to make, that could draw some people in. So I shouldn't sit here. It's not fair for me to sit here right now and say who's going to develop this quarterback because we don't know. I would imagine it's going to be somebody who is not in the building right now. And you can use that number one pick to lure somebody into the building, dangle that carrot, get them in there. Vic says we can go get Deion Sanders' son from the Browns to be the starting quarterback. I don't see that happening. The Jets have a quarterback right now who holds on to the ball too long windup, long delivery. I don't think they want to go get another one. I just don't see that. And look, I'm not going to pretend I was in any of the meeting rooms or interview rooms, but a lot of the reports that came out after the draft, that teams were sort of turned off, that Shador was like on his phone and not into the interview process. And then you see him showing up to camp with a camera crew following him around. I don't. That's not. Aaron Glenn is not up for that. Matter of fact, you talk about what teams look for in a quarterback. Aaron Glenn. That's one of the reasons he let Aaron Rodgers go. Right. I don't want people looking at you while I'm talking. And he comes from that Parcells school of I don't want a celebrity quarterback. So if you don't want a celebrity quarterback, you don't go out and trade for a guy who has his own personal camera crew to document his life. So I don't see that being a possibility. Edward says the Jets organization is the worst the NFL has ever seen. Can't think of an NFL team that has ever been this effing horrible. And I've been a fan since '66. Let's be fair, Edward. You are not far off, but the Cleveland Browns do still exist. And I'm not saying they're better than the Jets right now. I'm not saying they're not. Browns fans, but we know, and Browns fans know. I mean, really, Jets fans and Browns fans should have a brotherhood. No fan base knows futility like these two fan bases. I say it all the time that if you had to pick a team that's, which fans have it worse, I think that's the only team that can compete with the Jets fans is the Browns. And the Jets have the unique situation of not only being terrible, but they share a building in a city with a team that has multiple Super Bowl wins. Like in in my lifetime, and I'm sure for a lot of people watching in their lifetime. So the Jets have had to watch their co-tenants win Super Bowls while they can't get to 500 for like a decade. The Jets can't win as many as they lose for 10 years. I was thinking about that today. The last 500 season would have been Bulls, right? Bulls, Buffalo, disaster. They may have one since then. I don't know. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. It's getting painful to watch this team. I was hoping Tyrod would get it. I'll tell you what, Casey, when Tyrod came in the game, just completed a couple passes. I was like, all right, this team's going to be fired up now. The defense is going to be inspired because they think they have a quarterback who might get them some points. The O-line's going to pick it up a little bit. I mean, his numbers were better, obviously, than Fields. That's not saying a whole lot, but Tyrod throws for 126.5, whereas Fields threw for 46.5 after throwing for -10 the previous week. In fact, let's see. No. Okay, yeah, we looked at that. Yeah, so Tyrod, I thought he was going to spark them, and I thought they had a shot to win. Vic says the Lions were trash back in the. They were, but they're not anymore. The Jets were, and they still are. I mean, look, the Jets had a couple good years under Rex. I've said it before. Thank God for Rex Ryan. That for 2 years the Jets weren't trash. Under Rex, weren't very good before him, and they've been nothing but worse since he left. Ugly. It's ugly. I don't know what to say anymore. I really don't. There's really not a lot to. I mean, do you know how much? And I could be wrong about this, but I feel like a deep ball to Arian Smith. If Arian Smith had caught that touchdown, or if they'd hit Arian Smith open for a 35, 40-yard touchdown, just that would be enough for Jets fans to go, okay, maybe we have a playmaker in there. Because we know they suck. We know they can go 0-17. But it's like, show us something on offense. O-line is getting worse. And you really can't put it all on the O-line because teams are now just saying, look, we know Justin Fields can't throw the football, so we're going to load up against the run. And the plan this year was like, well, you'll run Fields enough that teams will have to respect it, and that'll open things up a little bit underneath, and he can do some damage through the air. Not that he was going to be Kurt Warner, but he, again, keep defenses honest and give your running backs room to run. That hasn't happened. He hasn't done anything through the air. So defenses don't care. They're not respecting it. Why should they? Why should they? Michael says the crazy part is we don't know what else to say. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't want to start doing full episodes on the draft, but maybe we'll start spending some time on draft prospects. Not like full episodes, but a few minutes at positions of need, not just quarterback. Look at receivers, look at DTs, look at edge rushers, especially if you trade Jermaine Johnson or Will McDonald, which I'm not saying I hope they do, but it may come to that. Ugliness everywhere, folks. I'm out of words. I got nothing else to say. This team stinks. They have the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. The backup couldn't throw a deep ball today, which has always been his trademark. It's always been a big part of what makes him a solid player. Not a great, but a solid player. If Tyrod Taylor is all of a sudden ineffective throwing the deep ball, well, then you've taken away arguably his best weapon. And now what? Now, even if you put him in, you're going to have a hard time. So, ugly football game. Indefensible. Credit again to the defense. They did a nice job. But offensively, there is no reason to believe this team will win a game this season. Go to Brady Cook. He cannot be worse. And you might have something there. I'm out of ideas. I'm out of answers. I'm out of things to say. Log this one off. The Jets are atrocious. Have a good one, Jets fans.